Hey everyone, welcome to Wax Pack Wisdom, where we talk baseball history through card breaks and the cards we love. My name is Jake T. O'Donnell. Today, we're opening this pack of 1989 Upper Deck. You know what's in this set, the famous Ken Griffey Jr. rookie card. But we're also going to talk about baseball in the late 80s, and hopefully you'll learn something new. Let's get going. All right, so in addition to the Ken Griffey Jr. rookie card, the set also contains rookie cards for John Smoltz and Randy Johnson, two Hall of Fame pitchers. So we'll be on the lookout for those cards in addition to the Griffey rookie. We'll also look for other notable Hall of Famers, maybe some other important players from this era as well. So let's get right into it and see who is inside this pack of 1989 Upper Deck. This is a foil pack, not necessarily a wax pack, but let's see who we have. And the first card in the set is a Hall of Famer. We got Harold Baines, DH at this point with the Chicago White Sox. So Baines was a somewhat controversial recent addition to the Baseball Hall of Fame. He was added in by the Veterans Committee after he had not been elected by the writers for many years. But that doesn't take anything away from the career that Harold Baines had. Many years with the White Sox. He was also eventually with the A's, with the Rangers as well. He went back to the White Sox. He was very clearly a favorite of Jerry Reinsdorf, the owner there. A consummate professional, great DH, one of the best DHs of all time, a power hitter, what you would just call a professional hitter. And again, it's the Hall of Fame thing is difficult because you could argue that he doesn't deserve to be in, but that doesn't mean that he didn't have a great career. So Harold Baines, the first card in this pack, and it's good to see a Hall of Famer in there. Mark McLemore was a kind of a utility infielder, utility second baseman type guy. He played around for most of his career. He played on like West Coast teams. It was the Angels. He was with the Mariners, the Pacific Northwest player. Had a lengthy career as a very useful player. And somewhat famously, the rapper Macklemore, who is from Seattle, named himself after Mark McLemore, if you can believe it. Again, it wasn't a guy that ever put up like numbers that would wow you or anything like that, but a good player for quite a few years on a lot of good teams. So Mark McLemore. Ramon Martinez, you will know his brother. His brother was Pedro Martinez. Pedro Martinez lived in the shadow of his older brother Ramon for many, many years. He was, they were both signed and both came up through the Dodgers system. Ramon had quite a few good years, and Ramon was with Pedro in later years with the Red Sox. And again, Ramon was, let's see what this would be, I guess, a rookie card for Ramon. 6'4", 165. The normal build for a pitcher, exactly what you want. And Pedro was kind of just his younger brother, who was short, just however tall Pedro is, like 6 feet, 6'1". But of course, Pedro ended up having a Hall of Fame career. Ramon had a good career, but certainly not as good as his younger brother. But Ramon Martinez, a rookie card here for a guy who, again, had a pretty good career, but didn't stack up to his younger sibling. I don't know anything about Brian Holman, but one thing that you will know about me from watching these videos is that I absolutely adore the Montreal Expos uniforms. Just the most beautiful uniform pretty much ever created in my viewpoint. The great uniforms of the long gone Expos franchise. They've been gone since 2005, I believe. Brian Holman enjoying himself wearing this, and that's just a beautiful red. It looks like maybe that's a spring training uniform, but man, love that stuff. Bob Boone. It looks like we got double Boone here. you know, these first year sets, you never really know what you're going to get. And one thing that's kind of interesting here is you kind of can see the difference in the cuts in these cards, where it looks like, I think that this one on the right has a little bit more of the white border on the side. But double Boone, baseball family, the Boone family. The father was his father was Ray Boone, Bob Boone, and then he had two sons, of course, Brett Boone, power hitting second baseman for the Mariners for many years, and Aaron Boone, who hit a famous home run against the Red Sox in the ALCS in 2003, and then later, of course, is now, at the current time of this recording, is the manager of the New York Yankees. But Bob Boone was a really good catcher. He was catcher for the Phillies, I believe. He was drafted by the Phillies. He spent 10 seasons with the Phillies, 7 with the Angels. He was the catcher of the 1980 World Champion Philadelphia Phillies, in which they beat the Kansas City Royals. So, Bob Boone, good player for a lot of years. John Moses, I don't know anything about John. This was a good era for the Twins, where they won the World Series in 87 and 91. Not sure if he was on either of those teams, but good ball player. Ken Caminiti, third baseman, Astros, later with the Padres. Incredible power hitter. Incredible, just an all-around amazing talent. One of the guys that I really enjoyed watching as a kid. Of course, unfortunately, he dealt with many demons, and he died young. I will say that I think possibly his best contribution to the game of baseball was the fact that he blew the lid on the steroid scandal. He was the subject of a famous story in Sports Illustrated in 2002 by Tom Verducci, where Caminiti admitted that he had used steroids, and he admitted that he told everyone basically that would listen that so many players were on steroids. And I think that his story helped contribute to cleaning up the game in later years. And as we talk about players, as I go through these videos and we talk about players and cards from this era, we're going to get into the guys that did steroids and the sort of complicated feelings about them. But I don't want to take anything away from Ken Caminiti's talent. He was a spectacular player. And again, many years with the Astros. This was when the Astros were in the National League, which is kind of weird to think about. Great uniform there as well. And also, he spent years with the Padres as well. So that's Ken Caminiti. Jim Morrison. I've seen Jim Morrison cards before. He was a great lead singer for the Doors, but also was a pitcher. And he looked like he was with the Braves during this era. But I don't know a lot about him. Pirates, few years. I guess he was a third baseman. Maybe there were multiple guys named Jim Morrison. But anyway, Willie Wilson this is sort of later stages of his career. I mentioned that the Royals played the Phillies in the 1980 World Series. They lost. They did play the Cardinals in the 85 World Series. They won that. Willie Wilson was a really critical guy. He was like a stolen base threat, top of the order, hit for a good average, not really any power, utilized his legs. Look at those triples. He was one of the all-time triples guys. And I think that 21 triples in the 85, the year they won the World Series, is close to a record, if not a record. But he would be one of those guys that would utilize the carpet at Kauffman Stadium, the hard surface there, and just hit the ball on the ground and try to run it out and get base hits and have the ball rattle around and use his legs. A spectacular player and a really critical part of some great Royals teams in the 1980s. That was the game back then. The game that Major League Baseball is trying to put back in now in the 2023. Reminds people, I would think, a lot of the game that Willie Wilson and the Royals played, and also the Cardinals played back in that era under Whitey Herzog, and that's Willie Wilson for you. But anyway, so there you go. Rich Gedman. Rich Gedman was a catcher. He was a catcher for the 1986 team that went to the World Series that lost. Of course, he had the cross up with with Bob Stanley that led to the tying run. We don't really like. I'm a Red Sox fan, and just full disclosure there. Born in Worcester, Mass, and has been a coach in the Red Sox system for a long time, and is the hitting coach with the Red Sox in Worcester. And it's a really cool thing for him to be able to do that in his hometown and where he's always lived. But he was a good hitter for many years. There's always this sort of debate: did Walt Reniak ruin him as a hitter? But again, one of the he was, for a team that lost Carlton Fisk in very ignominious fashion in the early 80s. He had the opportunity to step in and take over as the everyday catcher for the Red Sox, and he did a damn good job for many years. So Rich Gedman, good catcher, good quality major league catcher for a long time. Tom Prince, I don't know anything about Tom. It sounds like the name of a guy who's like a manager or something now. I'm not really sure about that. Rick Honeycutt has been a long time pitching coach. He's a pitching coach for the Dodgers. Most recently, I believe he actually is, as of this recording, is still the pitching coach for the Dodgers and a member of these famous A's teams. So this 1989, the Dodgers, the year before this, the Dodgers beat the A's on the famous home run, the Kirk Gibson home run in Game 1 of that series. But the next year, the A's won the World Series. They beat the San Francisco Giants. And Rick Honeycutt was a big part of that team. And I'm seeing here also another guy who's a big part of that team, who was Walt Weiss, and another one in Doug Jennings. I don't really know anything about Doug Jennings. It looks like he was maybe a backup guy, but we'll finish on Walt Weiss, who was a superb defensive shortstop, scrappy player, and somebody who has spent his life in the entire game. He was the manager for the Rockies for a few years. I believe he's back on the coaching staff of Brian Snitker in Atlanta, I think, but he could be somewhere else. I could be wrong about that. But Walt Weiss, shortstop on championship level A's teams back in the 80s. So anyway, that is going to do it for this episode. We did end up getting one Hall of Famer. There was no Griffey rookie in this pack, but again, hopefully you learned something about the players in this set. And that's going to do it for this episode and for this pack of 1989 Upper Deck. If you enjoyed this video, please subscribe to our channel, Wax Pack Wisdom. Give this video a like. Leave us a comment. Tell us what was your favorite card in this pack. Who's your favorite player from this year and from the set of cards, the players that you saw in here? Do you ever remember having one of these cards as a kid or earlier in your days? Leave us a comment below. Let us know what you think. You can find links below to where to follow Wax Pack Wisdom on all social media platforms. You'll also find our list of nonprofits and charities that we love. Please consider supporting one or more of those if you like this video. It would mean a lot to us. It's kind of the whole reason why I started doing these in the first place. So thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time on Wax Pack Wisdom. Take care.